member from Edmonton-Decore.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you on your elections. I also want to offer my congratulations to my esteemed colleagues in the Assembly. Today, we find ourselves entrusted with significant opportunity and profound responsibilities to represent the diverse voices of our respective constituencies. As representative for Edmonton-Decore, I want to express my gratitude to the people of Edmonton-Decore for their trust and confidence. Today, I stand before you as a newly elected member in this Assembly. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to my family, particularly to my wife, Hamdi. Hamdi, thank you for the unwavering love and support. To my 3 children, Taslim, Faisal, and Hodan, thank you for allowing me to take the time away from you and run for public office. I'm grateful to the donors and volunteers who dedicated their time and resources to my campaign, forging lasting friendship that I deeply cherish. I owe them more than words can express, and I am committed to representing Edmonton-Decore to the best of my ability. Mr. Speaker, I was born in a small town called Dinsor, located approximately 300 kilometers southwest of Mogadishu, the capital city of Somalia. My life started being born in a place where maternal health services were virtually non-existent. I was not born in a healthcare facility, nor my mom was assisted by a healthcare professional. Both my mother and I survived against the odds, as infant and maternal mortality rates were and still are tragically very high. I became the trailblazer in my family lineage, the first to sit down in a classroom, hold a book, and pick up a pen. Neither of my parents had the opportunity to attend any form of schooling, so it was their dream to at least see me get education. At grade 10, unfortunately, my homeland Somalia was ravaged by civil war, shattering all my family hopes and expectations. Every aspect of the public infrastructure was gone. Nonetheless, I stand here today because my dreams never faded. Despite the immense challenges, I managed to continue my education with the support of people who believed in children in conflict zones should have an opportunity. I eventually gained admission to one of the top universities on the continent of Africa. I had the privilege of studying at the University of South Africa, specifically their campus in Nairobi, Kenya. World Vision International sponsored my education, and I eventually worked for them. For about a decade of service with World Vision International, I dedicated myself to improving access to humanitarian aid and development in various parts of East Africa. One of my most passionate endeavors during this period was my work to enhance access to primary health care, with special focus on improving maternal and child health in the remote regions of East Africa. Mr. Speaker, to put this into perspective, a child born in the very place I was born in today faces a staggering 20 times higher risk of not reaching their first birthday compared to a child born where I find myself today. These sobering statistics fueled my determination to make a difference and ensure that every child and mother, regardless of their location, can celebrate life's precious moments. My journey in Alberta started 13 years ago when I joined my family in Edmonton as a new immigrant from Somalia. My wife, Hamdi, was the first one to migrate here as a government-sponsored refugee. With my wife and our beloved 3 children, we made Alberta our home because of its people and the numerous opportunities that it can offer. My first job involved supporting community engagement initiatives in Edmonton, particularly in the neighborhood of Kilkenny, which is in the heart of Edmonton-Decore, which I represent today in the Assembly. While working as part-time in Kilkenny, Hamdi and I made the decision to go back to school. I enrolled in the School of Public Health at the University of Alberta, where I pursued my graduate degree in public health. During my graduate studies, we lived in one of Alberta's social housing units, where I came to understand the significance of housing for individuals and families. Mr. Speaker, I was able to pursue my education dreams and reach where I am today because of these support systems, and I'm so grateful for these support systems. Many of my constituents are in need of such housing support due to the deteriorating cost of living. After 2 years of my graduate school, I worked as a policy advisor for the Ministry of Health and managed Alberta's primary healthcare strategy. I was excited to restart life and continue working in the arena of primary healthcare. Get back to the job that I liked the most, which is improving access to family doctors and allied health professions, something that the team around me cherished. In June 2017, the NDP government then announced Alberta's first affordable housing strategy. Yes, the first affordable housing strategy. A strategy that was looking into reducing wait lists, increasing affordable housing stock in our province. Giving back has always been part of my life, Mr. Speaker. Hence, following 3 years of service at Alberta Health, I took the secondment out of passion to manage Alberta's affordable housing strategy. It was an opportunity that enabled me to couple my lived experience with the practical policy formulation and implementation on housing. At the time, housing crisis was not as severe as today, and I commend the government then for recognizing the need for a long-term vision to address the unacceptable housing crisis that we find ourselves today. In 2019, as the world was in the 5th year for the decade of people of African descent, a decade dedicated for the recognition of the people of African descent, I went back to the nonprofit sector and took the role of executive director at the Africa Center. My decision to serve in this capacity was deeply inspired by my desire to contribute to building Alberta's diversity. As someone who experienced challenges of pre-migration, which still influences people's settlement and integration, I felt a profound sense of duty. Mr. Speaker, during my tenure, I had tremendous opportunities to meet and engage with Alberta's remarkable Black communities. I listened to their stories and advocated for the equitable and fairness that this province can offer. With the Black communities, we positioned the organization to be one of the largest Black serving organizations in Canada and the largest in Western provinces of Canada. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve in that capacity. Over the past decade in Alberta, I've engaged with people from various walks of life, spanning generations and representing diverse backgrounds. Each person contributes uniquely to the thriving fabrics of this province. They share a common desire for a government that creates the conditions for them to pursue their goals and aspirations as I did. Throughout my engagement with Albertans, when I share my story, people comment on the resilience and my overcoming of all odds. I've also heard similar stories from many Albertans who established a new life in their chosen home. Mr. Speaker, my first involvement in politics was when I landed here in Canada. I was inspired by the ability to freely participate in a democratic process, which I have never seen. I was not able to vote yet, but I volunteered in the 2012 provincial elections. I volunteered on Ray Martin's campaign, former member of this Assembly, a long-time New Democrat, and a wonderful human being. My first time to vote was 2015, at the age of 39. It was probably meant to be that, because my vote was one that contributed to the first NDP government in this province. Looking back, Mr. Speaker, I reflect on my childhood classmates, the many who didn't make it to their adulthood, and none of them was able to further their education as all opportunities were taken away from them by the conflict. None of them could ever vote in a democratic process, but here I am, sworn in as the 963rd member of this Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I see this as the story of Alberta. It's the story of this growing province. In the past 2 years, I have knocked on countless doors, meeting individuals from small business owners, to teachers, healthcare workers. I had the opportunity to listen and what Albertans expect from their government. I've heard they expect to improve access to timely-based primary health care, lower the cost of basic needs, making housing more affordable and rapidly increasing the housing supplies, building up more schools and ensuring kids are better supported to learn and grow, developing an economic plan that embraces the future, and ensuring that Albertans have a stable and predictable retirement saving. So, Speaker, the first week of October, during the reading week, I visited several schools, sat down in various classrooms. It was a joy. It was evident that, however, not only class sizes, but classroom complexities continue to add more pressure on educators in our schools. This is making school boards take difficult decisions, including reducing support services for our students, which will further worsen children's learning outcomes. The rising cost of living is affecting many Albertans, making housing affordability the most pressing issue that we ever seen in the recent history of this province. We are witnessing an increasing homelessness, deteriorating conditions of the existing social housing stocks, an increasing wait list for those who cannot afford the market price of housing. We live one of the richest jurisdictions in the world, but many Albertans have no place to sleep, Mr. Speaker. We all have obligations to immediately address these unacceptable conditions. To the constituency of Edmonton-Decore and all Albertans, worry about their economic resilience, their quality of life, their living conditions, and the current and future environmental risks they face. These are just few of the various concerns that Albertans express. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne that we heard on Monday didn't address these concerns adequately. As member of His Majesty Loyal Opposition, I pledge to do everything within my power to halt the further erosion of our vital people-centered programs and services that define our quality of life. I'm deeply humbled by the trust and confidence.
Thank you, member.